Welcome to the KOBN podcast. I'm your host, David Flores, Old Boy class of 1993. The Kemper Old Boy Network podcast is where we keep the Kemper legacy alive by sharing our memories and our stories. Today, our guest is Alpha Kemper Old Boy Pathfinder Heath Nevels. Heath, it's great to have you on the podcast. Can you tell us a little bit of your backstory about who you are and how you got to Kemper, and then where you've been since you left Kemper?
Yes, thanks, David, man, for having me on here. Sorry we haven't done this sooner, but here we are, and man, I'm kind of nervous because some of the greatest or better podcast candidates you've had before me, I feel like I'm really downplayed. So, you know, maybe I can be a little interesting, but we'll see how it goes. and I'm glad you've hit the record button so we know we're really doing this time. So how I got to Kemper, you know, there's a couple of things. I actually had a relative that went to Kemper before me. And then, you know, it was an uncle, and then a good friend of mine in high school. He was a year older than me. His name was Chris Murray. He went to Kemper, and he had gone the first year, and we had stayed in contact, and you know, when he had come home at Christmas, you know, we had talked, and he still, you know, I was still excited to get there, and he was in the ROTC program as well, but what ended up happening was he didn't go back to Kemper the second year, and we didn't have you know, emails or you know, cell phones or any way to communicate that. So by the time he came home for the end of the spring, you know, into the summer, I was off to the basic training program for the ROTC. I can't remember what they called the thing, but it took the whole summer, and then I went to some extra you know, schools after that. So by the time I got back to Houston to turn around to go back to Kemper, I think I was only in Houston for less than a week before I had to report to Kemper, because I also was on the football team, and so they had the 2-a-days or 3-a-days. I can't remember what the shit we did, but it was at that point he said, "Hey, I'm not going back, and you're kind of on your own." So you know, so I kind of entered it, you know, a little nervous, but hey, it worked out. You know, I you know, went through there, played football, and you know, did all the ROTC stuff, and you know, overall it was a pretty exciting experience. I had a few leadership roles. I got to boss the high schoolers around, you know, for a little bit. Spent some time in Delta Company, and you know, my initial, I was in Bravo Company initially, and you know, kind of moved around, and yeah, I had pretty decent grades. You know, I tended to get in trouble from time to time, but nothing too serious.
You were first sergeant of Bravo Company, weren't you?
Yeah. I think that was
your second year there.
That was I can't remember if that was my second year or my first year.
I think it was the second year. It was my first year, your second year.
Okay, yeah. And then I was my last role. I was XO of Delta Company, mm-hmm. And then the year before, I started in, I was what was I, platoon sergeant or something like that, and then they put me in Delta Company, and I was I wasn't a platoon leader. I think I was
kind of like an RA, right? Like, it's kind of what the role that you guys
yeah,
would
it
play.
was I can't remember.
Yeah.
I just it pretty much is a blur, but I had a good time anyway. So that was in fact,
I think they put a couple.
you know, we started our own club. If you remember right, you know, they had all these silly scabbard blade people running around there, and the plaid beret, and so I remember us, you and me particularly, getting kind of frustrated with that. So we started our own club. Remember, it was the Pied Pipers.
Yeah, we'd smoke our pipes and read poetry.
We'd read literature. It was good stuff, man. It was really good stuff, man. I think I've got some pictures around here.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
I think Kemper was, you know, it was a really good experience in the sense that you know, being around a whole lot of different people and you know, learning about each other and kind of learning about yourself. I had never been anywhere outside of Texas. Well, it's Louisiana, but I'd never been anywhere else, and you know, and I certainly had never, you know, been to any kind of camp or anything like that. So it was I think I needed that. I needed that little bit of structure, even though, you know, Kemper was in a strange time at that moment, you know, with they had the you know, we had the ROTC program, and then we had the athletic program, and you know, it was a little bit different, but there was enough structure there and enough things that I picked up and learned on my own and took to heart that I've carried it with me for, you know, throughout my career, and you know, any interaction I have with people, I'm very proud to say that I went to Kemper and you know, and had that experience. So it was a good deal.
Yeah, I think a lot of us feel the same way. So what have you been up to? What have you been up to since you left Kemper?
Well, so you know, so after I left Kemper, me and there's Charles Reed, Chuck Reed. He was the Corps. He carried the stick. He wasn't the Corps commander. That was Shane Biff. Shane. He was the Corps. Not the Corps sergeant major. It was the Corps sergeant major. Corps sergeant major. Anyway, him and I, we ended up at Texas A&M University, and we hung around with each other a lot. I ended up you know, staying there for a bit, and ended up getting my degree in industrial engineering, and you know, immediately out of school, I went to work in the oil and gas industry. I started with Dowell, which is now Schlumberger. I spent a little time there, and went on to Baker Hughes, and then I wound up at Shell Oil Company, and I spent about 15 years at Shell and working just about everywhere around the world. I spent some time in the Middle East, and got to run into a few old boys out there, and lived in Dubai and worked in Iraq, and you know, just got to go to some really neat places. I've lived in Australia. I've been to China. I lived in Russia for a while, and yeah, it's been a really nice career so far. I ended my last assignment in Shell was I was in innovation research and development, and I've patented and developed a number of different technologies that are utilized today deep water and unconventional applications. And I'm at a company called GHD, which is it's it's really strange because it's an environmental company, and I'm a dirty oil guy working in an environmental place. But my objective is my team that I direct. We are tasked with reducing CO2 emissions from oil and gas fields, and we do that by capturing the CO2 and sequestering it deep into the kind of the reverse of extracting oil and gas, while we're putting CO2 back into the earth. And it's a real good time to be in this field, because we're tying it with hydrogen and blue hydrogen and gray hydrogen and green hydrogen and all this offshore wind and all these greeny things that if you would have asked me about even as soon as a year ago, I would have laughed. But it's a change in the world, man.
I've always said, like, hey man, if we really want to go to renewables and go, into cleaner energy, we need to get oil and gas guys to lead the way.
Yeah.
Incentivize them to do it, and that's how it's going to happen. It doesn't make any sense that you're going to try to take the plate of food from a dog and give it to another dog. Just let that same dog eat it, just a different way. You just incentivize them to do it, and they'll figure it out. They have the strength in all the same areas that they need to have in terms of the technology and the minds behind it to get it done. So just give them the incentives and let's roll with it. It's going to happen. It needs to happen. Oil's not going to go away tomorrow. We all know that every piece of consumer product has some form of oil in it, and that's not going to go away. Oil's going to be there for a long time. But in terms of energy, we can find other ways to do it, and we can do it smart.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I do think I 100% agree with you. The same engineers and scientists that are able to locate and find and extract oil and gas are the same ones that can figure out how to get rid of the waste. So my team is they're very talented. I've got a lot of they've got a lot of experience in oil and gas, and together as a collaborative team, we're really developing some really innovative technologies to reduce that carbon, and it's really cool. It's really cool getting to see these men and women that use their brains to try to reverse what we've done. So it's probably the most satisfying job or role that I've had to date, because
that's awesome.
It's really making a difference, and we can see it. It's something tangible.
You got quantitative data to say, hey, we're changing things. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the Kemper Old Boy Network, how it started and how you led the way to get it up and running and get the people together to actually make it happen.
Well, so it's kind of we're going on 3 years now, Kemper Old Boy Network, and the way that it started, I never was really active with the Alumni Association. I don't know why I haven't been involved, and I can't put a specific reason as to why. But I did. I have kept up with a lot of old boys, including yourself. throughout the years, and I picked up a sense that maybe the Alumni Association wasn't it wasn't I'm not going to say functioning, but it wasn't as collaborative or I don't feel like it really involved enough people, or I didn't feel like I was a part of the Alumni Association, and I think that's reflective of how it's run, or how how whoever is in the Alumni Association communicates or collaborates with Old Boys, right? And I was fortunate enough to go to a wonderful university, Texas A&M University, which has the one of the, if not the largest alumni associations in the United States, and it's called the Aggie Network, and I'm very honored and pleased to be a part of the Aggie Network. There are lots of events that happen, locally, internationally. I've gone to networking events in the Middle East and in just the most peculiar places, but I really like that strong that strong sense of feeling that hey, I'm a part of something, and I was a part of that. And if you get down to the core of it, Kemper has the potential to be that. Now, Kemper doesn't exist as a school anymore, but those core values that we identified with, or we have tried to identify with, we can carry that on, and we can use that as a focal point or an anchor to really draw like-minded folks or folks that have had that same experience with Kemper, and there's a finite number of Kemper Old Boys. And why not get together and try to networking is that's the new way of doing things. And in the absence of a school now, and we don't focus on the family crest, because that's a family crest. That was but what we do focus on is that Kemper cross. That those things that we were applied in our formative years of the standard of honor. And what did that mean? What did that mean to us? And maybe for some it probably didn't mean anything. Maybe some people didn't even get to sign it. But I do think that genuinely everybody that did spend any time at Kemper did try to embrace those core things. And what I think Kemper Old Boy Network should, and I've always thought this, is that Kemper Old Boy Network, we're focused on the future, and how can we carry on the Kemper, the Old Boy legacy, and keep those fundamental core values that we've been attracted to, and that we're not perfect, none of us are, right? But as long as we have the mindset that we're trying, and
right,
and we can instill those things into the next generation, and we subsequently we could have Old Boys in the future, right? So if we ever evolved to a big enough organization and really got into it, we could create scholarships or or some way. And when we give that scholarship to whoever that would be, whether it's a child of an old boy or just anybody, we can apply the standard of honor to them, and they can become an old boy. In my mind, I mean, who's to say that they can't do that? Again, it's those core values and those type of formative type of behaviors that you're trying to instill or try to carry on.
Right.
Fortunately, I did stay in touch with people I really like. I really liked you, Dave, believe it or not. and Christy and Scott and the others. And it's been great getting to know some of these other old boys that have been in and out of the Pathfinders. It hasn't been an easy road, because everybody has a different vision of how things should be, or what kind of relationships we should have with other people. I just want us all to focus on using the network and getting known and keeping all that in the background. That stuff that we talked about, the standard of honor and in our Kemper cross and even the symbolism is great. I mean, we've got a great logo. I think we spent a lot of time and effort, coming up with, okay, how does this look, when we look at something and we think what the Kemper Old Boy Network is, what kind of symbol does it represent? And we all came to the cross, right? The Kemper cross. It wasn't the family seal, it's what we were really eyeballing on, right? I also want to grow the Kemper Old Boy Network. I'd love to have it, globally. Unfortunately, the way things are, we all have this other thing we have to do, and that's live. and so we can't always devote the time that we would like to, and that's why the Kemper Old Boy Network is strictly voluntarily. The associations like the Aggie Network, I mean, they're so massive, that they have so many people, and even if they can just give a little bit of time, that's massive, right? We're very small, and so a little bit of time is really just a little bit of time, so that's why we need to grow it, so that the bigger we get, a small amount of time is a larger number. And I can go through the math of that if I get on my whiteboard back here and write that out, but I'm not going to do that.
Well, on behalf of all the Pathfinders, we want to just honor you for taking on the burden of leadership and putting this thing together and getting everybody involved. And I know you put a lot of time into it, a lot of your own finances into it, and you stuck with it and really pushed us through some of, and it's always hard in the beginning, especially when you're working with an all volunteer staff. And we've made it through 3 years, and and just want to give you props and give you the honor that you deserve for taking on that burden.
Yeah, well, like I said, it hasn't been easy, and I know that I've probably hurt some feelings and probably excited some folks, but I've done the best that I think that I needed to help the. I'm not going to call it a business, but to help the network along. Getting that charter or getting our state notification was a big step, and in making us feel like we're a legitimate organization where and getting that website up that you've done a wonderful bang up job on, and getting our social media kind of going, and it's like I said, we all wish we could do more, but like I said, time just kind of catches up with us. Yeah. And and I think that we've been trucking along here for 3 years, and I've been steering it, and it's time to pass the baton. And I know, David, we've talked about this a lot, and I think that you need to carry the baton on. I still am planning to be very much a part of the Pathfinders and the Kemper Old Boy Network, but I think that by passing the baton to you and keeping that torch going, it's going to reinvigorate the core Pathfinders, and I think getting some fresh blood in there and energy is going to help out tremendously.
I think with hopefully we've turned the corner on COVID. Might give us some more opportunities to be meeting in small groups around the country. I think that's going to help a lot. And we really got to give props to the Alumni Association. It looks like the Alumni Association has turned the corner as well. They've got some new leadership in there as well, and they're picking up steam as far as getting the museum going and all the physical artifacts, which I think is they're doing a bang up job with that, and want to give them props for doing that. So I think right now is a good time for Kemper and for the alumni to refocus, get back together. Let's focus on moving forward, like you said. And if we can keep that legacy alive of the core values that we learned, man, I think it'd be great if we could have some more old boys that we don't have to fade gently into the night, man. That we can continue on, and the things that we learned there can still be instilled, because Kemper wasn't the buildings, it wasn't the physical artifacts, it was what we learned and what we carried. It's hard to reproduce that without the buildings and without the military school and without the structure there. But if you can help some people out and let them know why you're helping them out, you might be able to change some lives. And I think that's our goal. For the long term is to help Kemper live on through not only through us but through the people that we can help.
Well, let's hope that we can keep the Kemper Old Boy Network going longer than the Pied Pipers.
Yeah, I don't think anybody ever found our charter. So let me tell the story. So we wrote up a charter and we printed it up on like legal paper, and I think we even had it like typed or something. And then we got a lighter and we burned it and made it look like old.
I remember that.
And we rolled it up and we shoved it behind in somebody's somewhere. so that when some new boy comes in, he's cleaning up, he finds the charter, and then he's got to live with it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it worked. I don't know if the plan worked.
So this is so like I said, hopefully we can keep the sales going, and like I said, let's rearrange the officers or the Pathfinders, and and let's let you get a crack at it, and we'll just keep plugging away. Don't expect that you're going to have any less support, from me. I still have a lot of skin in this game. I want it to take off just as much as anybody does. But like I said, I think 3 years might be might be enough.
Well, not only that, but we know that you're real busy at your work, and you've got a business that's just taken off as well. So, yeah,
That's
your
right.
plate's full. So, yeah. So tell us a little bit about your business.
Oh, so I have a drone. Well, it started out as a drone business. And I had, when I was at Shell working in research and development, we were looking into drone technology, and at the time, Shell had its own drone fleet, and we were looking at trying to reduce greenhouse gases or reduce our carbon footprint on some of our operations. And so we had developed several technologies that would literally shrink, the amount of equipment that is needed to perform these big hydraulic fracturing operations. And my boss at the time, she said, what we really need is we need some drone footage so that our leadership could see the reduction in the equipment and
the footprint,
and the carbon being emitted. And so she said, I want you to reach out to the internal. We have a drone fleet, in some part of the company. So I tracked them down and told them what we needed. And the guy said, well, yeah, we'd be glad to do that. And they wanted to charge, internally, our department to some outrageous number. It was a 6-digit number to be able to just go fly a drone. So my boss, she was a vice president, and the guy who was head of that was a vice president, and they clashed heads, and so she said, well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to have my team leader. You're going to train him to fly the drone, and then we will just fly it ourselves. And so I went through some training, man. I had to get my license and had to get checked off on all these different kind of drones, and as a result, I went out and flew the drone, but I thought, man, this would be really cool just to have as a side business, because my daughter was just going into middle school, and she was looking at different things that she would be interested in, and one of them was photography and that kind of stuff, and I said, well, you know what, I'm going to start a little LLC, and it was called Top Shot Whirlybirds at the time. And all we did was we just took drone footage pictures of, we would go to these different golf courses, and we'd charge them to take pictures of the fairways, and we had a bunch of flooding that was that happened in that first year that we were in business, and we were getting drone footage for the local news stations, and so it was just kind of dominoing out, and then it kind of went low for a little bit, and we would just get some simple stuff like roof inspections, and we were just getting all kinds of kind of weird stuff. And well, for whatever reason, this year, between the housing market and then people just wanting these really terrific shots of different scenes, and and I'm working with some artists, some local artists that commission these big steel structures, and they need them because they're for the government. The government has to have them, drone footage of these things to as a rubber stamp that they've done.
Yeah.
I have just been busy as all get out, and so it's been crazy, but it's a whole lot of fun. In fact, before this little meeting, I got done with work, and then me and my wife had to haul butt down to Pearland to do a photo shoot, and then get back here and get it all uploaded and everything, and so it's just crazy. And we're booked all weekend. We're taking more photos, and so it's been a lot of fun.
That's cool, man. I'm glad that the business is taking off, and glad to have this conversation with you, man. It's been a long time coming. I know we should have done it earlier. We just
well,
it's one of those things where
I remember when we were first talking about doing it, I thought, well, maybe I ought to be the first dude, and I can't remember. The schedule never worked out, and I forgot who was the very first guy that we did.
It was Woody Woodward.
That's right,
yeah.
Woody Woodward. Man, we haven't heard from him in a while, huh?
Yeah,
he's doing.
I've seen him, a little bit on Facebook and stuff. He seems like he's doing all right. He's up in Arkansas, so yeah, we need to touch base with him. Hopefully we can do something up in Arkansas, or he might make it out. I know I saw him over at the reunion year before last, so he'll probably be at the reunion this year.
Yeah, well, and to be fair, last year, COVID really slowed us down. It slowed us down in a lot of ways, right? Because now we were forced to interact like we're doing now, and I think it was a learning curve for everybody. Now we did have these little happy hours, and those seemed to go really well, but I don't think that they went well because it was a Kemper Old Boy deal. I think they went well because it was people wanting to see other people, and that's just an opinion I have. But I recently I had to go to LSU. It was about a month ago, and I had to give a speech or a presentation to a large industry audience, and there was probably 200 people in this thing, and everybody was it was the first big conference that people were allowed to come in person. And I remember I went up to the podium, and they had the thing, and they had like a plastic wall all the way around it, and I see all the people in the audience, and they had the 200 people that were there, but then they also had it on like a Zoom type of meeting as well, and I forget how many. It was crazy the number that were there. And the first thing I said, man, all you guys look great, man. You look everybody. I said, I don't know if y'all are just happy to come to my presentation, or you're just happy to be here, in person. and then I said, man, I feel like the Pope up here, and I started, I was in this little plastic,
booth.
And everybody was just they just absolutely loved my presentation, and I just felt really popular, and I still think they were just glad to see me,
That's being the same room, right? Well, I don't know if they knew, but you also have a little bit of a stand-up comedy a thing you do, right?
Yeah. So when just before I got out of school in Texas A&M, I was president of my fraternity. I joined a fraternity, it's Chi Phi fraternity, and one of the things I had to do the summer before I graduated, we had a national congress every year, and if you were the Alpha at that time, then you had to give kind of a state of the union. It was goofy, but it was fun, and that year I had to give the State of the Union, and I immediately started things with jokes. It was just, it wasn't planned that way. It just happened.
It just happened.
And so many people came up to me afterwards, and at the time, I worked as a bartender in some of these big clubs here in Houston, and one of them was a comedy club, and it was owned by the same guy, and anyway, so I had a back, just kind of a, I think that's how
you're around it. Yeah, you're around it. Yeah.
You're hearing it, and then just being a bartender itself, you really learn to communicate and joke and really try to get somebody drunk. You're just like, hey, try this. And so then I started going into the open mic nights here in Houston, and I was in with guys like Ralphie May and
oh, wow.
and some of those comics. They started the same time I did. Yeah. And when I graduated school, Dowell shipped me to. They moved me to California, to Northern California, and I started in the comedy clubs there, and then they abruptly moved me to Southern California, and I got to know. I went to Greg Dean's stand-up comedy. He had a school
workshop. Okay.
Yeah, and I went to that, and then Greg Dean introduced me to Mitzi Shore, Pauly Shore's mom, who ran the Comedy Store in Los Angeles, and I got my first break in the belly room of the Comedy Store, and from there it blossomed, and I found myself performing, all over the place. Anytime Dowell would send me somewhere, it was really easy because Mitzi, she knew everybody across the U.S. and so if I was coming into a town to do work, then she would just reach out to that person, and I would have a spot, or or a mid or an open, and I ended up moving to Louisville, Kentucky, and I performed at the I've already forgotten the name of the comedy, but it was the same comedy club that Drew Carey started at. And I got to meet a lot of interesting comedians, and I still, when we started living overseas, I kind of backed off of it because American humor is not very funny in other countries, but I still, I would still, do stuff for my work, so, and then when I was back here in Houston, and I still perform, well, after COVID, I haven't done much, but before COVID, I was doing stuff about once a month. My last performance was in March 6th. And if you remember, as March 16th was when we went on shutdown. But I got to perform there in Austin at the Capitol Comedy Club. That was the last show that I had done before COVID, and then since in February, I got to to go up to the Improv here and do a set. So it was, we're slowly getting back into it. But the only trick is with the different comedy clubs, especially like the Improv, because they're kind of a big franchise. They were the headliners were having to bring their own mids and openers, and so they weren't letting the local comedians fill those spots. But the gal, she's finally let up, and so now we're kind of back on a schedule as we would like. So.
Yeah.
But I've been so busy with this other role. I'm just like, man, in fact, she sent me a note earlier, and she asked me if I had some availability this weekend. And I'm like, no.
Just the way it goes, man. Well, I think we've had a good talk. I think we're all looking forward to things rolling out the rest of this year and into the reunion. So we're going to go ahead and sign off. And I want to thank everybody that listens to the podcast. We appreciate all of y'all. You can find us on the web at KemperOldBoyNetwork.com. Please be sure to register on the site so we can keep you in the loop of any events or our latest episodes and any other KOBN news that we might have. If you have a question or a comment or a story that you'd like to be aired at the end of one of our podcasts, give us a call. The number's 660-596-6362. You can leave a message, a comment, a story, anything you want on there, and we'll play it at the end of the podcast. I'm your host, David Flores. Thank you. God bless you guys.
But wait, there's more.
Okay, what's more?
Well, I don't know. I need to find me a chamois. If you donate $19.99, we'll send you this Oreo.
There you go.
But wait, there's more. For additional shipping and handling, we'll send you 2 of them.
2 of them. And they're not even open.
And a yes button.
Well, yes.
There you go. There you got a little bit of the comedy stylings of Heath Nevels right there. Little improv. Yeah, well, folks, thank you again. It was good talking to you guys. Signing off. Heath, it was good talking to you, man.